Good evening, Namaste to all dear learners. I, Dr. Mahesh Singh, Professor, Plant Pathology, College of Agriculture Science, Tirthankar Mahavir University, Muradabad. Welcome once again in NIOS live studio program. Dear learners, hope you all are doing very well. Dear learners, today is a very important topic we will discuss in integrated pest and disease management of wheat crop. Dear learners, nowadays there is so many challenges facing by farmers, that is insect pest as well as diseases that hamper the crop and overall the loss is more than 45% up to 50% in some cases. So we will discuss on very challenging topic that is integrated pest and their management. Dear learners, the objective of the today's session is to teach about the distribution, economic losses caused by diseases as well as the insect pest, their identification of major insect pest along with the suitable management strategy. Basically, we will focus the integrated management strategy for some important diseases and as well as some insect pest, and those are causing the damage to the crop. Dear learners, the learning outcomes for the today's session is you will be able to understand about the importance of diseases, their economic loss, causal agents and symptoms, the favorable conditions for the spread of the pathogen, their disease cycle, you can say the suitable management practices, and the end of the session you will be able to do all those things. Dear learners, the wheat is that is a triticum species, belongs to the family Poaceae. Wheat is one of the world most important cereal crops that provides a staple food for billions of the people throughout the globe. Wheat is cultivated in diverse agro-climatic regions ranging from temperate to subtropical zones. Wheat has been grown for a long time, and over the years many different varieties is also available, and wheat diseases and insect pest causes major yield loss. You can say that reduce the grain quality as well as the reduction in the overall yield of the crop, and diseases are caused by the so many causal factors, that is fungi, bacteria, viruses, nematodes, and so many insect pests also affect the crops. Dear learners, there are the so many different plants part and they can affect the multiple growth stages, and identification of the symptoms, their etiology, disease, insect cycle as well as essential for the effective control of the for management. Integrated pest and disease management, that is IPDM, uses cultural, biological, mechanical as well as chemical strategy for sustainable wheat production. Dear learners, here are some important wheat diseases and their causal agent. I will tell you, like rust disease, it is caused by the fungal pathogen, that is Puccinia species, and the leaf rust Puccinia tritici, and stem rust Puccinia graminis, like that. Stripe rust is also caused by the fungal pathogen, that is Puccinia stripiformis. Powdery mildew, fusarium head blight, septoria leaf blotch, tan spot, loose smut, common bunt, kernel bunt, Alternaria blight, ear cockle, that is caused by the nematode, that is Angina tritici. These are some major causing disease as well as their causal agent, and I will tell you some important insect pests which are the responsible to cause infection in the wheat crop, that is aphids, armyworm, brown wheat mites as well as termites is also responsible to cause damage in the crop. And we will discuss first of all wheat rust. You are aware about the wheat rust. This is the caused by the fungi that infect wheat plants basically, and it affecting their leaves, stem as well as grain also. Dear learners, the infected wheat plant develop rusty color lesions as well as pustules on their surface. Rust infected wheat plants may reduce the photosynthesis, that's why the growth may reduce, or the stunted growth is there, and the quality of the grain may also degrade. And the types of the wheat rust is basically I already told you that yellow rust, brown rust and black rust. And they are yellow rust is caused by the Puccinia striformis. Leaf rust, that is brown rust, that is caused by the Puccinia striformis. Stem rust, that is due to also known as black rust, and Puccinia graminestriticea. Dear learners, these are the types of the wheat rust, and I have given the colored photographs, or you can identify easily, and the types of wheat rust, and like yellow rust, brown rust and black rust. Dear learners, the distribution of the black rust, it is globally distributed. Black rust of wheat is caused by the fungus, that is Puccinia graminestriformis species straticae, is distributed worldwide where the wheat has been growing. And the prevalence in wheat growing region, that is the disease is commonly found in the temperate to subtropical region where wheat has been cultivating is prevalent, and environmental condition is temperate to moderate temperatures like 15 to 20 degrees centigrade is favorable for the black rust of wheat, and high humidity, it prefer the high humidity more than 80% is prepared for the disease development. And it is economically important, it causes the significant yield loss, means more than sometimes 50% or more than that. It's depend on the intensity of the pathogen, and reduce the grain quality as well. Infected wheat plants suffer from the reduced grain quality due to the compromised photosynthesis and nutrient uptake, leading to the smaller and lighter grain, and it impact on the food security also, because the black rust overbreak that can lead to the food shortage, and price may fluctuate, and wheat dependent regions, and the cost of the disease management is also paid by the farmers. That significant cost for the disease management that measures for the fungicide application. And the symptoms, we will discuss the symptoms. Basically, the yellow orange pustules on the leaves and stem as well as spikes you can observe on the lower leaves as well as regularly and upper leaf also, and the linear arrangement along with the veins or margins also appears, and the darkening and enlargement of the pustules at later stage you will see, and the formation of the dark streaks as well as lesions on the stem and spikes also, and it reduce the photosynthesis and chlorosis rate, and overall the stunting of the plants that reduce the yield. And disease cycle, we will discuss about the disease cycle. The disease cycle of the black rust of the wheat, that is Puccinia graminestriticea, involves in the several stages, including both sexual as well as asexual reproductions, and here are the steps in the disease cycle. And for example, overwintering of the structures, and the disease cycle belong to the overwintering structures, that is called tilia, and which is produced on the barberry plants. Barberry plants and at the time of in spring basically teliospores germinate and giving rise to the basidiospores. After the basidiospores are wind dispersed to the wheat plant growing area and initiating the infection process, and the basidiospore infect wheat leaves and that leading to the formation of the primary uridia. These primary uridia released to the uridospores. That way after that uridospores are produced in large numbers within the uridia and on the wheat plants, and it may disperse with the help of wind dispersal, and these spores are other than other wheat plants and causing the secondary infection that promoting the rapid spread of the disease, and it repeated the infection, that is called secondary cycle of the infection occurs throughout the growing season as uridospores continue to the infect of the new wheat plants, and late season formation of the tilia towards the end of the growing season. The fungus may switch to the sexual phase forming the tilia on wheat plants, and tilia produce the teliospores, and after that teliospores on the wheat may serve as a source of inoculum for the next growing season of the crop if they survive throughout the winter. After that the teliospores on the wheat crop can also infect the barberry plant, and that completing the life cycle. However, this step is not always necessary for the disease to persist, but it sometime it also happen with the barberry plants, and the teliospores produce on the barberry that overwinters, serving as a source of inoculum on the basidiospores in the following springs, and these are the cycle diagrammatic representation of the life cycle of the Puccinia, and we will discuss now management. Dear learners, management is a very important because it causing the severe damage to the crop, and first of all you have to select the resistant variety, like planting wheat variety which genetically resistance against the black rust of the wheat, and it most effective and the sustainable control measures, and regularly you have to update varieties to ensure the continued resistant as a pathogen evolved, and you have to also rotate the crops with the help of non-host crops to disturb the disease cycle, or you can break the disease cycle with the help of crop rotation that reduce the inoculum levels in the field. And you have to avoid planting of the wheat crop, that is consecutive seasons to the minimizing the buildup of the pathogens. Dear learners, after that you have to remove the alternate host, that is eliminating or control with the help of alternate host, that is particularly barberry plants, and which serves as the essential host for the pathogen for the sexual reproduction. That's why if possible you can eliminate the barberry plants, but it is not mandatory every time, but you have to maintain these things. But early planting and timely sowing is also important to minimizing the pathogen load in the field, that is planting the wheat early in the season that can helps to avoid the peak period of the black rust that and when it is developing, and that reducing the disease pressure, and ensure the timely sowing to promote the uniform crop development and reduce the susceptibility. It providing the adequate spacing between the rows to rows and plants to plant distance to promote the air circulation and reduce the humidity. And cultural practices, you can also optimize the plant spacing and avoid the excessive nitrogen fertilizers uses, as a dense canopy that can less growth can create the favorable condition for the disease development. So you have to avoid the overdose of nitrogenous fertilizers, and you have to use basically recommended dose only, and you have to monitor regularly in the field that if the presence of the black rust is find any kind of symptoms, you can use the disease forecasting methods or modules for the other monitoring tools to assess the risk of the infection, and you can also manage with the given guidelines also. And genetic resistance is also important, and quarantine measures you have to also measures to the restrict the movement of the infected plant materials to reduce the introduction of the new pathogens races in the other area where it is not applicable. And when the disease pressure is more high, you may apply with the fungicide like mancozeb at the rate of 1 to 2 kilogram per hectare, carbendazim 150 to 200 gram per hectare, and you can also use the propiconazole or tebuconazole type of fungicide for the if the disease pressure is more high. And dear learners, now we will talking about the ear cockle of wheat. Ear cockle of wheat, it is caused by Angina titici. You know, Angina titici is a kind of nematode, and it is very challenging to the wheat crop, and causing the severe loss sometime in the so many area where wheat has been growing. And relevance in the temperate of the climates, like it is more commonly observed in the temperate climate zone where the wheat has been cultivating, and it is a widespread distributed. Ear cockle can be found in the various countries across the Europe, North America, Asia, and other wheat growing producing area of the world. And the economically it is also important, dear learners, it causes yield loss as well as quality reduction and seed contamination, and it also affect your overall crops growth, and the management cost is also getting by managing the disease, and market restriction is also. So it is very important economically to know about the disease. And the causal organism, as I told you, that is Angina titici is a kind of nematodes, and you may classify in the basis of kingdom, that is Animalia, phylum Nematoda, class Secrinita, and order Tylenchida, and family Anguinidae, and Anguina genus, and species is Titici. Dear learners, the symptoms, now we will talk about the symptoms. The symptoms appears on the leaves and stems as well as head, that is the floral part of the crop, and the affected plants look dwarfed as well as twisted and crinkled leaves also. So you can easily identify this kind of symptoms in your field, and presence of the gall sometime and smut ball may also observe in the field, and galls are irregular in the shape as well as smaller than the healthy grains also, and galls can be white, pink as well as yellowish brown in color. Infected grains within the galls are smaller, shriveled as well as discolored also. Grains may appear chalky as well as grayish brownish due to the nematode and fungal infection in combination, and reduction in the grain yield per hectare is very high depending on the severity of the pathogen. And you can see here the infected spikelets and infected grains also, and the overall the leaves as well as the ear head also twisted by the infection of the nematode. And Now we will discuss about the disease cycle of the Angina titicii. The life cycle begins with the nematodes that are introduction into the soil. Basically, it start from the soil and typically through the contaminated seed or soil also. So you can say that the primary infection with the help of seed as well as through soil also. The infection stages, that is the nematode exist in the infective stage in the soil, that is that may waiting to the encounter the susceptible host of the plants, and when the condition are favorable for the infective juveniles of the Angina titicii that penetrate the small rootlets and they can enter through the host plants and through root, and typically in the wheat crop, and once inside the plant tissues that nematode feed on and they can reproduce and multiply themselves, and they release the enzymes, and they may break down the plant cells also, that can causing the formation of the galls as well as smut balls within the developing wheat heads. And the formation of the galls is nematode that induce in the plant to form the galls, which serves as the protective structure for the nematodes, and they can provide themselves with the nutrients also. And within the galls, the nematode continue to multiply and feeds on the plant tissue, that leading to the development of the nematode population within the infected wheat heads. And after that, dissemination by means of infected wheat that matures, the galls containing the nematodes are the dispersed along with the harvested grain, as well as spreading the nematodes to new areas and new field also. After that, in the soil, nematodes may survive as a infective juvenile stage until the suitable conditions for the infection occurs again, and after that they completing the disease cycle. And how you can manage this kind of the disease, and you can start with the certified disease free seeds to minimizing the risk of the introduction of the nematode in your field area, and you can rotate the crops with the help of non-host crops to break the nematode life cycle and reduce the population of the nematodes and the levels of the in the soils. And you can avoid the wet condition in your area, means field area, like ear cockle is favored by the wet conditions, so avoid the over irrigation or ensure the proper drainage system in your field, so that you can manage the excess moisture in that area. And plant wheat varieties that are resistant to Angina titicii is available in the market. You may apply or you may grow that kind of resistant variety that can helps to reduce the severity of the infection also. And seed treatment is also important, because it is a kind of seed through seed and soil borne disease, so that you can treat the seed with the nematicide as well as with the help of fungicide also, to reduce the nematode population and the protect of the emerging seedlings also. And soil amendment, you may incorporate the organic matter into the soil to improve the soil health, to promote the beneficial microorganism, as well they may suppress the nematode population. And regularly you have to monitor the field wheat field for the sign, if any kind of sign or symptoms founding in ear cockle or any kind of galls you are finding in the on the wheat head, and you can take the immediate appropriate action if infestation are detected over there. And you may practice with the good sanitation by the removing and destroying of the infected plant debris to reduce the spread of nematode to healthy plants. And you may apply with the integrated pest management things like implementing an integrated pest management approach that combination of the multiple control methods to effective management of Angina titici while minimizing the environmental impact also. And plant wheat varieties that are resistant to Angina titici is available, and you may apply with the resistant variety that can helps to reduce the severity of the infection. And use of certified disease free seed, and start with the certified disease free seed, that is minimizing the risk also. And you can also use the fungicide for the controlling of the disease, that is with the help of Angina titici. And now we will discuss about the another disease, important disease, that is wheat crop on the loose smut. Now loose smut, dear learners, loose smut is a very important disease of the fungal pathogens. It is caused by the fungus, and it found in the worldwide where the wheat is cultivated, and it occurs in the various wheat growing region across the North America, Europe, Asia, Australia and other countries. And environmental factors that favor the wheat smut is influenced by the environmental conditions such as temperature, humidity and soil type, that is a favorable condition for the fungal growth, and infection increase the incidence of the smut also. Dear learners, economic importance of this disease is you can say smut lead can the significant yield loss, that is ranging from moderate to severe depending on the severity of the infection and the stage of the development of the which it is occurs. And the quality reduction is also over there, and increase of the production cost by applying of the farmers to minimizing the disease. Dear learners, we will taking a small break. We will meet again. Thank you.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित अवलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने हम, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा और परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, स्वयं बने हम,
Dear learners, welcome back once again. And dear learners, we are discussing about the loose smut of wheat. And loose smut of wheat is causing by the fungal pathogen, that is Astilagotitisae, and it is belongs to the kingdom fungi and Basidiomycota phylum. And basically Astilagotitisae exhibit the characteristics dark powdery spores masses on infected wheat head, and it contributing to the destructive visual identification on the overhead. And the Astilagotitisae display the identifiable symptoms like smoky heads with dark spore masses and floral structures replacement, you can say completely replaced by the dark spore masses, and look like in the colored that is in the dark black color, and the in manifesting the visibly during the flowering. And the systemic infection reduce the widespread symptoms, and it release the powdery spore masses that contributes to the pathogen spread, and that impacting the seed quality and causing the economic impact on due to the reduction of the yield. And you can see the symptoms clearly, how the complete the seed grains is damaged due to the converted in the powdery masses of in black color. And the disease cycle, loose smut is spread by the seed borne basically, and the dissemination of the this pathogen is begin with the teleospores, which are the produced in the infected wheat heads during the previous growing season, and overwintering in the soil, or you can say with the crop residues also, and it providing the source of the infection in the next planting season. And after that, in the spring, teliospores germinate to produce the vesidospores, and small infectious spores that is capable to the infecting young wheat plants. And after that, vesidospores infect and developing the wheat flowers during the flowering stage, and it gaining the entry through the floral organs, and the pathogen, that is Astilagotitisae, colonize the vascular tissues to form the and wheat plant, and leading to the systemic infection also. And floral infection, floral structures are replaced by the masses of the dark spores, that is characteristics of the loose smut symptoms. And as the wheat head matures, the pathogens develops as in the form of powdery smut spores masses, and leading to the smoky appearance also. And after that, mature wheat head distinguish and release the large quantity of the infectious smut spores in the environment, and that is the source of secondary infection, and leading to the spread by means of the air to the neighboring plants. And the management point of view, you can plant the wheat varieties that is resistant to the Astilagotitisae, and treating the seed treatment with the help of fungicide is also minimizing the risk of infection. And it is also advised to implement the crop rotation practices that helps to break the disease cycle by reducing the presence of inoculum in the soil, and implementing the proper sanitation measures, including the cleaning equipments, and removing the infected plant debris that reduce the source of inoculum. And you may avoid the volunteer plants in the main crops to the potential for the pathogen survival and transmission, and optimal planting that is schedules to helps to the avoid the period of the high disease pressure, to minimizing the risk of infection during the critical growth stage. And you may apply the fungicide that protective for the against this disease, and at the critical stage like flowering, and they can helps to manage the loose smut. And integrated approach by means of all cultural, physical and chemical activity by combination of the various control strategy enhance the overall disease management. And now we will discuss about the kernel bunt of wheat. And the distribution point of view, this disease has been distributed in the region with the warm and dry climates, and it is the disease was first reported from the Karnal, India by Mitra in 1931, hence the name as Karnal bunt. And it is prevalent in the part of India and other country like Pakistan, Mexico, Nepal, South Africa, USA also it has been reported over there. And economically this disease is also important. To approximate yield loss is reduced around the 20%, and more than that it depends on the severity of the pathogens. And it also increase the production cost by managing the kernel bunt. It requires the additional expense to the farmers of the application of the fungicide, so it increase the production cost as well. And the reduction of the quality, infected wheat may suffer from the quality degradation that impact the market value. And kernel bunt can also trigger the trade restriction on the wheat export from the affected regions to the further affecting to the economically viable for the wheat production to those area, so that it is more effective. And the pathogen is Teletia indica. It is the fungal pathogens, and the phylum is Basidiomycota, and the symptoms point of view, the infected wheat grains appears healthy from the outside, but it may contain dark powdery masses inside, and infected grains often emit a foul or fishy like odor due to the presence of fungal spores under this, and upon the closer inspection you may find that infected grains may exhibit the blackened masses or smut balls that indicating the presence of fungal spores, and infected grains have had the market value and thus the unsuitable for the human consumption. So the market value is also diminished by this kind of infection, and the disease cycle point of view, the kernel bunt is often a seed borne disease, and it can also caused by the teliospores that presents in the soil surface basically, and the infection of the disease cycle begins with the spores of the fungals, that is Teletia indica, come into the contact with the wheat spikes during the flowering stage, and the penetration of the spores that germinates in, and penetrate the wheat florets through the stigmatic hairs also, and once inside the floret is damaged, the fungus colonize the developing grain where it remain dormant until the grain mature, and after that the symptoms developed as the wheat grain mature. The characteristic symptoms of the kernel bunt may become visible, that is including the formation of the dark powdery masses that is known as teliospores inside the kernel, and infected grains are harvested along with the healthy grains during the wheat harvesting time. That's why the teliospores release from the infected grains during the harvesting, and it may contaminate with the healthy grains and the soil, and surviving as a source of inoculum for future infection. And the teliospores can survive in the field for several years, especially in warm and dry condition, that providing a reservoir of the inoculum and for the subsequent wheat crop, and it is under the favorable conditions the cycle repeat itself as a spore infect the new wheat spike, that the prematurity of the disease cycle of the kernel bunt. And how you can manage this kind of disease in the field? You have to first of all rotate wheat crop with the help of non-host crop to break the disease cycle. Dear learners, it reduce the inoculum level in the soil. That's why the pathogen load in the soil may decrease, and you may apply the or grow with the resistant variety or cultivars. Those are resistant or somehow tolerant to kernel bunt to reduce the disease incidence. And seed treatment is more important to treat the seed with the help of fungicide or hot water treatment to reduce the seed borne inoculum. And timely sowing is also important, because in the season to avoid the flowering during the period of the high humidity which favor the disease developments. So it is very important to sow the timely, as well as sanitation practices is also important to remove the and destroying the crop residues to reduce the inoculum levels. And you may apply the fungicide also if the level of the pathogen is so high to reduce the during the flowering, and it reduce the disease severity. And you have to proper monitoring the primary symptoms is appear in the field. You have to apply or take the suitable measures practices. And now we will discuss about the aphids. You know, aphids, it is a kind of insect pest which is responsible to cause disease infection in the wheat crop, and basically it is the small soft body of the insect, basically 1.5 to 3 millimeter in length, and it is in green and yellow to brown in color, and it is basically the host. They can affect like wheat, barley, oats, and so many kind of other cereals as well as vegetables also. And habitat point of view, it founds on the leaves, stem as well as ear of the wheat plant that forming and in colonies also. And damage point of view, it sucks the plant sap using the piercing and sucking type of mouth parts, and that excrete the honeydew type of that promoting the sooty mold growth also. And the symptom point of view, you can see the yellowing to the curling of the leaves as well as stunted plant growth and shriveling the grains as at the severe infection also. And the overall impact, you can find the reduction of the photosynthesis capacity, and that lead to the grain quality deterioration, and it can transmit the viral infection also. And management point of view, you can apply the cultural practices like early sowing that can escape the heavy infestation, and removal of the weeds in the area where wheat has been growing or entire the field. And you may remove the alternate host also that balance the dose of nitrogenous fertilizer is more important. And biological point of view, you can ensure the natural enemies like hybrid beetles, ladybird beetles, and lacewing, and so many other parasitic wasps are there. You can also apply for that, and use of systemic insecticide like imidacloroprid also you can apply. And so many combination of the cultural, biological and chemical methods of is sustainable control may apply. And next insect pest is army worms, and army worms is also so many types of like oriental army worm, beet or army worm, and common cutworm also. And the caterpillars is in grayish to brown, and with the dark stripes that can sometime pale to underside in color, and moth grayish brown in colors. And they can also affect the rice, maize, barley apart from wheat, and so many other cereals also. And habitat point of view, it is active at night basically, and hiding in soil, or you can plant in under the plant debris during the daytime. And the symptoms of this infection are larvae feeds the on leaves, stem as well as the panicles also. And defoliation gives the plant at premature stage, and the ranging the rag the leaf edges and the chewed foliage also. And at the severe infestation and leads to the bare field, that is army movement from the plant to plants. And reduction of the photosynthesis by the affected area may appear, so that the plant may lose, and due to the stem feeding also. And the significant yield loss due to the untreated field. And you management point of view, dear learners, you can basically manage with the cultural practices like deep plowing in the summer season, basically timely sowing to avoid the peak activity period, and removal of the crop residues and weeds also. And biological point of view, you can use the predators like birds, ground beetles that can reduce the parasitoids, and you can also you can introduce the parasitoid also, like trichogramma species and other also may use, and apply the insecticide like chlorothalonil or and lambda chlorothalonil and other integrated pest management practices may apply, and monitor the field regularly for egg masses and young larvae also, so that you can manage on timely. And dear learners, thank you all about your precious learning and listening, and dear learners, hope this session is find you very well and learn about the today integrated pest and disease management of wheat crops. Thank you very much for your precious listening. Thank you.